Come on out, Jackie.
Jackie?
I suppose we couldn't expect a game about death and finality to last forever. Spiritfarer's final bit of free DLC closes the book on developer Thunder Lotus's year-and-a-half-long journey across a vast, memorable ocean of content. We've met friends, family members, annoying four-armed mushroom children, and through it all, the game maintained a steady, tranquil pace. With this final piece of DLC, we bid farewell to Spiritfarer, but not before helping out two lost souls eager to move past this world and into the next. This is the Jackie and Daria update. After receiving a pamphlet to visit the pristine Overbrook Hospital, Stella finds herself helping its caretaker, the incredibly terrifying hyena-slash-monster thing known as Jackie. I'd just like to say kudos to the artists. Jackie is goddamn horrifying to watch and will haunt my nightmares for years to come. There's clearly no god if this thing exists. But I digress. Jackie is... He's something else, harboring a sort of attitude not only towards Stella, but also Overbrook's patients. One in particular, he's essentially locked in a tower due to her being too difficult to deal with. And yeah, you guessed it, it's our final passenger, Daria. But I use the word passenger lightly. For the vast majority of your interactions with these two, they're located exclusively at Overbrook. A bit of a departure from having to lure the two onto your boat so you can murder them. Take care of them until they're ready to move on to the next life. But this design choice is a bit of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, if you're returning to Spiritfarer having made the necessary trips to the Everdoor already, this whole thing can be a bit of a hassle. You're given a pager early on that essentially has Jackie calling you back to the island for new quests as you progress through his storyline, which meant I had to get back on my boat and essentially just sail around for a bit, fishing off the back end until he had another errand for me. I can imagine this structure works way better in the context of a new player who, you know, actually has other stuff to do, but I felt like a giddy teenager hovering over their phone waiting for their crush to text them back. On the positive end, Spiritfarer takes a cue from Breath of the Wild's Tarrytown and makes the entirety of Overbrook largely upgradable, at least from an aesthetic point of view. And I don't know why, but I find it so funny that this weird vending machine is essentially how you breathe life back into this island. It is so stupid, in the best way possible. Even one of the characters is like, I don't understand any of this, but I don't care. Just keep doing what you're doing. Now, there are some new side quests, and Daria's psychedelic platforming levels are not only well designed, but triggered through playing your guitar in specific spots on the island. Which reminds me, Daria is certainly interesting in a weird, sort of musically abstract way. I think. Having been sequestered in the tower for so long, she admits that most of her skills in the way of conversation are pretty rusty, resulting in much of her dialogue being overly poetic and largely vague. I will say, though, that she's flippin' adorable. Like, on the cuteness scale, she's definitely up there. Compared to the bevy of small changes found in the previous update, Jackie and Daria's DLC carries with it few other changes, save for a tips page in the pause menu. Some bug fixes can be found across all versions of the game, though I did run into some pretty choppy frame rates on Overbrook, as well as a sort of soft lock state when trying to upgrade my structures. Now, usually I'd say no harm, no foul, but considering one of your new quest lines involves fully upgrading a new building on your ship, it led to more than a few headaches. I'd have to consistently save after making almost every resource and ended up having to restart the game about 8 or 9 times, which wasn't ideal. But I assume these issues have been fixed by now, so you shouldn't have too much trouble. As I made my way to the Everdoor one last time, I looked back on the path I had traveled. The ocean that once felt so open and free was reduced to a red lake, a door to Spiritfarer's true ending. After the fact, I found myself rifling through quotes by authors and poets online, hoping their words could act as substitutes for my own. And each one essentially told me the same thing, that the conclusion to this story wasn't really the end, but a new beginning. Those words echoed throughout my head. They seemed hollow, as if they didn't apply to this journey, a journey exclusively about the end. Not about what comes next, but what you leave behind. And sure enough, Spiritfarer's end title was one step ahead of me.
And I'll take your hand and guide you through.
What this game left behind was more than pause for thought. As overdramatic as it may seem, it helped me through an especially rough time in my life. And for that, I can't thank the developer enough. Though I've made my last trip through the Everdoor, the journey was truly unforgettable.
But it's okay, we'll be together.